Good. Hey. See, we've got the terrible front-facing camera going. Today we're going to be doing a live stream, as we usually do, and we're going to be basically talking about your questions, things that you want to know about English, things you've been working on, things that are difficult for you. That's what we'll be talking about here. If you are interested in seeing this stream or supporting the channel later, you can support me on Patreon at $2 a month, and then you can get access to all live streams in the past, and there will be more and more and more. So you get access to all of those. And also, you can sign up for my courses. If you want to improve your English, you can sign up for my courses. That is in the link in the description. And my name is Luke, and today we'll be just talking about some English questions. By the way, we're here in New York, but today I'm in my home. I'm at home today. So we'll be talking about our questions here. Something in my hair, gotta get that out. Hey, Judy's here. Hi, Judy. Hey, Luke, how are you? I'm good. Dolly, hey, hello, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining. So you guys know how this works, hopefully. We'll be doing a, oh, you're from India. Nice to meet you. And Israel Perez, hello there. Guys, so we'll be doing a live class today, and basically this is a Q&A, so that means that I am not writing the questions, you are. You're coming up with the questions, and I'm doing my best to answer them for you. Okay, so that's how this works. If you have any questions about what you've been working on, things you've been struggling with, word differences, pronunciation points, whatever it may be, and I'm here to answer your questions. I was just doing another live class on a Chinese platform called Huajiao, and that was fun. We talked about, hey Guy, we talked about Thanksgiving, we talked about Halloween, and focused on, oh, thank you very much, Dolly, I appreciate that. Talked about some traditions related to Halloween and Thanksgiving, and some interesting words related to those. So if you have any questions about holidays or traditions, I can talk about that too. Okay, so really whatever you have questions about, And you may be noticing that maybe the screen looks a little different than usual. That's because I got a new phone, and it's a better phone, but the camera is worse, unfortunately. Luke, do you think, says Judy, do you think the key to go from advanced to fluent is practicing conversations with natives? So that's a very interesting question. Do you have any videos about improving speaking? Yes. Yes, I have on my channel, so if you go over to my channel, over 200 videos about improving your speaking, about different areas. And the last video I posted yesterday was about how to improve your fluency and how to develop awareness. So, hey, Luciano's here. Good to see you. So, just the question about talking with natives. So the answer is yes, but. So the reason I say yes, but is practicing speaking with natives is going to help you practice getting things out of your mouth. So that's good. Practice is always good. And it's also going to give you a feeling for how new words might be used in context. If you're speaking with a native English speaker and they use a certain word or phrase, you're going to start to get a feeling for that word or phrase the more you talk with them. So your listening is going to improve, going to learn new things in context, and and you're going to have, obviously, the chance to feel more comfortable, more confident when you're speaking. So that's good. However, when it comes to becoming really fluent, the video I posted yesterday about developing your awareness requires you to be kind of careful. So if you're having a relaxed conversation, that's fine. Maybe you don't need to really focus on correcting everything if you don't want to. Sometimes you want to just relax and have a conversation. But if you really want to improve your speaking habits, then you have to be able to self-correct. And a native English speaker is not going to just correct you. Your friends who are native English speakers don't want to spend their mental energy listening to you and correcting you. They probably just want to talk with you. That's the reason that teachers exist, right? You like my animated face video? Thank you very much. I'm going to be making another series of those, of 8 videos, pretty soon. So look forward to more of those. So you have to still develop awareness by yourself. Speaking to a native speaker isn't going to make you develop awareness. You have to have the way of thinking to be able to catch yourself and notice what you're saying, and then use that way of thinking, that attitude, that process as you're talking with your friend. And if you don't do that, then it might be possible for you to get worse in some areas because your habits are getting deeper and deeper, your bad habits. So yeah, that's a good question. So the answer is yes, but you have to really build in that awareness. And if you don't know what that means, awareness, watch the last video I posted on my channel. It is about how to be more aware when you're speaking English, and I think it's useful, hopefully. All right. Can you give me an advice to learn phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs are tough because, okay, so first, what is a phrasal verb? A phrasal verb is when you have a phrase, which is several words together, but the first word is usually a verb, and the second is a preposition or an adverb. Okay, so like break up and step down and come over, things like that. That's what a phrasal verb is, and there are so many of them. The difficult thing about phrasal verbs that makes them so hard to learn is that they rarely only have one meaning. Simple example of come across. So come across has the basic meaning of one person being on the other side of the street, coming across to this side of the street. Come across the street. It also has the meaning, though, of discovering something that you didn't expect. When I was walking home, I came across a coffee shop I had never seen before. So that come across means to discover. If I come across any new music, any interesting new music, I'll let you know. So I discovered something kind of by accident. Then there's another meaning, which is how you seem to other people. You sort of come across as a very sort of serious person, like you don't have a sense of humor. You come across that way. That means you seem to me to be that way, whether or not it's true. Whether or not it's true. So there we have already 3 meanings, 3 different ways that come across can be used. And that's only one phrasal verb, and there are thousands and thousands. So this is the difficulty of learning phrasal verbs. I mean, you really need to know how to Google well or search well online. Hey, Argentina. Hello. Welcome. You really need to know how to search online well to find the meaning and understand all the meanings. You really need to know how to see things in context. In other words, when you see it in a movie, you know how it's being used, which meaning is right. And honestly, even that may not be enough. So, you know, ask a teacher, ask a native speaker what it means, and Try to find definitions in, in dictionaries. It's tough to find them sometimes, all of the meanings in dictionaries, though. It can be very difficult. So I'm actually working on a course on phrasal verbs that I'll probably put out next year. So hopefully that will help. I think it's good to have native speakers explain them this way so that it can be, more clear. That was 5 minutes of me just talking about a single phrasal verb, so they're very difficult to learn. I know that might not help you. That might make you more sad, but sorry, Tania, it's bad news. Phrasal verbs are one of the hardest things to really get a feeling for, really. Please tell me how to improve grammar. Any books which start from basics? Well, I would recommend staying away from grammar books because what I've found is I know quite a few English majors, and that means they studied English in university, who can't speak English at all. So if your goal is to understand English, and that's your goal, then all right, maybe buy a grammar book. I really, really don't recommend it. I really don't. I recommend communicating and reading as a way to understand grammar. The human brain is capable of processing grammar structures naturally. So what that means is, if you're reading a book and you understand most of what is being said, over time you're going to get a feeling for the different types of grammar. You're going to get a feeling for that. Then through those examples, you will begin to be able to use the same grammar. And as you're communicating, it's going to get easier and easier. But you're not thinking of it as grammar. You're thinking of these things all as examples. This is a kind of sentence. That's a kind of sentence. This is a way of saying something. Most native English speakers don't know grammar. If you ask them, hey, what is a preposition? Can you tell me? Most of them don't know. If you were to go up to native English speakers on the street and ask them what a preposition is, 50% will know, maybe less. And I know this because I did it in Times Square. I did it. I walked up to native English speakers and I asked them the question, what's an adverb? What's a preposition? Give me an example. They didn't know. But they can use it. They can use all these things. Did they learn these things from a grammar book? No. They learned them through lots and lots and lots of examples, exposure, being surrounded by English. So it depends on what you want to learn. Do you want to just be able to understand grammar and understand the deep parts of English? Or do you want to be an English communicator? If you want to be able to communicate well in English, deeply understand how people speak English naturally and how you can do it, you need to jump into it by reading actual books and by communicating more, by practicing what you're reading, the types of sentences, by writing. If you look at a sentence and you say, I wonder if I can make the same sentence, then you try to write it down. You're processing the grammar. You write down your own example. You're processing the grammar in your own way, and you're understanding it, even if you don't know what it's called. I find grammar books focus too much on what is the name of this and what is the name of that, and it causes a lot of confusion. So my answer is read books, real books, not grammar books. Read real books, not grammar books. And please use English in the chat, okay? Use English in the chat, or I will have to block you. English in the chat. This is an English live stream. If I see other languages going on, then I will block you. Not because I don't like you, but because I want to keep this an English environment. Stories? Sure. Whatever you like. Harry Potter, nonfiction. Personally, I like to read nonfiction, but if you like to read novels, yes, that's great. That's a better way of learning and getting the feeling for grammar. Okay. Luke, for example, the word about to is a phrasal verb. No, it's not. It's not. If you're about to do something, it is a to be about to do something. So about is usually used as a preposition, but it can also be used as an adverb. If we're using about to connected as to a verb, then we're using it as an adverb to talk about the action that's going to happen. For example, she was about to go. She was about to go. So it's using it like that. Sir, give me your WhatsApp. I don't use WhatsApp. I don't use WhatsApp. I have a question. Dolly, is Rocky bothering you? Is Rocky bothering you? Let me know. Okay, I think I missed a question. Does that answer your question, Israel? So let me give you some examples of that. She was about to pick up the phone when someone knocked at the door. So there's an action that's nearly happening, and then another thing happens. Okay? Adorable sir. Oh, it's you. Hello. You don't like that guy. Well, okay. If that guy does any more weird stuff, then don't worry. Bzzz, he will be gone. Did I miss any questions? I was about to talk about something else when I remembered that. See what I did there? I remembered that I might have missed a question. I feel like I missed something. Luciano, do you have any questions? Oh, I don't think I did miss any. Good. Great. I didn't miss any questions. Sir, I want to speak English with fluency. Yes, I think we all do. I think that's why we're all here. I don't know if you guys watched the video yesterday, but in there's a clip of Obama speaking, and I think there's something interesting about that, the way that Obama speaks. Whether or not you like Obama, it doesn't matter. If you watch him speak, he's not afraid to pause. I think a lot of people who are learning English think fluent English must be fast. That's actually not true. Fluent English doesn't have to be very fast. It can be really slow, and the fluent part is about how the words are sort of linked together and maybe how ideas are coherent without mistakes. So if you watch Obama speak, he'll say something and then say another thing. He really uses pauses well. So don't be afraid to pause when you're speaking. You can pause and speak slowly and still be fluent. And by pausing sometimes, you're giving yourself the chance to reflect on what you're about to say or what you just said, either to maybe make an adjustment, make a correction, or think about maybe a word that you're going to use. And that can really help you reduce your mistakes. So I strongly recommend that you look at the better English speakers and notice that they don't necessarily speak quickly. I'm speaking kind of slowly right now, and this is I would say my normal speaking speed. Sometimes I speed up, sometimes I slow down. And so if you want to sound more natural, focus more on reducing your simple mistakes and focus more on adding flow between words. Flow between words instead of flow between words, flow between words. Don't break up words. Instead, blend them together a little bit more so that it sounds more natural. Speak like Obama. President Obama often, he has a very sort of serious voice, and when he's talking, he often hits a pause like that. And a lot of people think that when he's speaking, he's being a little too careful. But I think that Obama has a really natural style, and it allows him to be funny and use his words to great effect. That's my best Obama impression. I know it's not good. What about literature? Oh, I missed one. One way, but the other, and I will stand corrected mean. One way, but the other, and I will stand corrected mean. Well, I don't understand that question. You might have to rephrase that one, and I'll try to answer it, but I don't understand it as it is. Okay, what about literature? You mean what to read, Shahrukh? Well, it really depends on what you like. I like nonfiction, so I read a lot of, books like this. This is, by the way, a really good book by Neil deGrasse Tyson called Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. So you can learn about the universe in a very short book. And actually, the language isn't too hard. I'll read a page from this book. Gravity, the most familiar of nature's forces, offers us simultaneously the best and the least understood phenomena of nature. It took the mind of the millennium's most brilliant and influential person, Isaac Newton, to realize that gravity's mysterious action at a distance arises from the natural effects of every bit of matter, and that the attractive force between any two objects can be described by a simple algebraic equation. It took the mind of the century's most brilliant and influential person, Albert Einstein, to show that we can more accurately describe gravity's action at a distance as a warp in the fabric of space-time produced by any combination of matter and energy. It's a nice page. Oh, and this one, Neil deGrasse Tyson, this version is signed by the author. Signed by the author. Signed by the author. If you don't know Neil deGrasse Tyson, check out, search this guy on YouTube. He's so cool. He's so cool, and he's really, really smart. Which poet could you recommend? Poets, I like... By the way, poetry may not be the best way to learn English. I would recommend books, prose, because poetry breaks all the rules. It doesn't follow grammatical rules. You can break all kinds of rules in poetry to be more expressive and creative. But, well, for older poetry, I like Edgar Allan Poe. He's cool. He writes kind of dark, gothic poetry, but that's older style English, so it's not going to be useful. It might be a little useful, but it's kind of outdated. And then there's, trying to think of his name, Charles Bukowski. Charles Bukowski is his name. Charles Bukowski is a poet who's died recently, but he was a very good poet, and he's got some really interesting stuff. Yeah, sure, I can show it. Neil, N-E-I-L, deGrasse, G-R-A-S-S-E, Tyson. Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. Charles Bukowski, just try to Google it. I think it's B-U-K-O-W-S-K-I. Charles, B-U-K-O-W-S-K-I. Charles Bukowski. So this is a good one. But that's if you like science. If you don't like this kind of stuff, don't read that. Read Harry Potter if you like that. I like Harry Potter. Harry Potter is good. All right, I'm going to scroll back up and because I know I missed quite a few comments. Thank you. I think that's right, Yuri. That looks right. Charles Bukowski has some cool poems, for sure. I like Charles Bukowski. He was kind of an angry old man, and he writes a lot of sort of bitter, the world is terrible, smoking 100 cigarettes kind of poetry. So that's kind of funny. Oh, have a good day at work, Eddie. Enjoy your day. What's your job? I'm gonna scroll up because I missed some comments here. I'm gonna scroll up. Luke, can you help me with some examples about the difference between make and do? Oh, you asked that below too. All right. Kill two birds with one stone. The question is a little bit too general. Hi, Prem. Hello. Technical support. Ah, fun. I'm doing a course, by the way, on customer service, and I'm going to publish it next month, and so that might be useful. It's a whole course. It's going to be about 25 lessons on customer support. Might be useful. Might be useful. Oh, by the way, I want to mention, if you guys want to watch the replay of this, it won't be available here. It will be available on Patreon. So you guys are welcome to watch this live, but if you want to see all of the previous live Q&As or the ones after they finish, then you can go over to Patreon. It's in the link in the description, and support for $2 per month. $2 per month, and it's it's in the link in the description. Does he have a YouTube channel? Charles Bukowski? No, he's dead. Tupac is also dead, but Tupac is also a great poet. I would agree. Rappers are great poets, for sure. Rappers, Eminem, Tupac, any rapper you like. There are some really good modern poets out there. Thanks, Eddie. Have a good day. Okay, I'm going back. I don't even know where to begin with the question of make and do. I don't even know where to start because it's just such a big question. I mean, okay, so, all right. Okay, so we would make a thing and we would do an action. We can do things too, but those things are a kind of action thing. Let me see if I can make that more clear. This is not the only way to use make and do, but it is a way to use make and do. We would make a plan. And a plan is something that you could write down on a piece of paper. And once it's done, it has been made. So it's a thing, but it came about because of a process. So you have the thing now. Now it's done. Now you can hold it up and say, here it is. Here's the plan. You can make a cake. And making a cake would be something that after you finish doing it, the actions, then you can hold it up and say, here's the cake. Here's my cake. Okay, so that's the basic idea of make. Of course, make can be used in other ways as well. Right? Make an example. I'm making examples now. I'm not doing examples. I'm making them. Because after I make them in my head, I hold them up to you and show them to you. Right? I make an example. So it's sort of like something that's done, yes, but then you can hold it up at the end of the process and say, here it is. That's the basic idea of make. And then do is not something that you can hold up often. Not always, but often. And it's more focused on the process itself rather than the end result. So if I say, for example, I'm doing my homework, I need to do my homework. Yes, it's true that homework is something that you could hold up and say, here's the homework. But it's the action that's more important. When you're making the plan, the end thing that you hold up is more important. When you're talking about the cake, the end thing is the goal that you're going to hold up and say, here's the cake. But the homework is the action is more important, right? So you do homework. You do homework, okay? How about this? I'm going to do a live stream, a live class, a live Q&A, or I'm going to make one? I would probably say I'm going to do a live Q&A because it's about this. This is it. This is the most important thing. You people here talking with me, asking questions, me answering them. This is the most important thing. Am I making it? Well, I guess if you want to watch the replay and you want to go over to Patreon and support me on Patreon, wonderful, great. I would appreciate that. It would be wonderful. I would be so happy. But it's this that's the thing that we're doing together. It's this action. We're focusing on that. Whereas making a video, because there, the goal is the thing I hold up. I post the video. I worked on it. I filmed it. I edited it. I did all that stuff. Those are actions. But at the end, I hold it up and I say, here it is. I made this video. I posted it. So I hope that gives you a feeling, an overall feeling. And it's a tough question because it's such a broad question, because make and do can be used in other ways as well. But I think that's a way to begin thinking about the difference between make and do. We would do a live stream, or have a live stream, I suppose, and we would make a video. We would make a plan, make a cake, but we might do homework. Or we might maybe let's see, what would be a specific action? We might do a presentation. Do a presentation. Now, sometimes people will say make a presentation, so that's okay. Sometimes both of them work. Do and make a presentation are both correct. But it's really more about the focus in this case. I hope that at least partly answers your question. That would be a good topic for a video, I think. Okay. I've missed so many things here. I've missed so many things. Do you have any page to learn vocabulary? I have a course called Building Your English Brain. And in that course, it teaches you how to learn vocabulary and phrases, as well as many other things for learning how to think in English. I think it's half price right now. In the link in the description, check that out. It's about 3 hours long. It's not something I can answer, I think, very simply. So check that out. Check that out. Oh, I've missed so many things. So many things. Okay. BBC News is good for improving your English? Yeah, BBC News is great. Dolly, BBC News is, I think, a very good resource. Maybe better than any American one. Yeah, go for BBC. But try to watch it without subtitles if you can. Without subtitles means you're not looking at the words going across the screen. So that's actually better. If you can develop your listening, then that's great. That's great. TED, T-E-D, TED.com, also a great resource. Because if you do need to look at the subtitles, you can play the transcript in your language or in English. So if you want to learn something every day and you really need English sometimes or your own language, go to TED.com, watch a TED Talk, and it will give you a new idea. TED is great. Have you played a card game or any other kinds of games? What is your favorite? You know, I don't really play card games. Today I played a game, Go Fish, and it was a lot of fun. I could even remember a similar card game I had played during my childhood. I know a drinking game called Circle of Death that's played with cards, and it is a lot of fun. I don't drink that much, but when I do, I like to play Circle of Death. Okay. Israel says, I have a curious English problem. For example, right now, when you are speaking, I can understand everything that you are saying. However, many times when other speakers are speaking, I can't understand. Ah. And Royus, is it Royus Gikar? Oh, I don't know how to say your name. That's tough. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so, you know, I've been teaching English for quite a long time, so I'm speaking with the intention of helping you understand. I want you to understand me. And even if I'm speaking a little faster, you can understand because I want you to. So I'm being careful not to pull very local words and phrases, not to use things that only a small group of people will know, that only Americans will know, so that you will understand. I'm not using a lot of phrasal verbs. I'm not using a lot of slang. I'm not using a lot of American cultural references. And these are often the reasons that people don't understand natural spoken English, for example, on the news or in movies or TV shows. It's because there are not only words and phrases, cultural references that you don't understand, things that only maybe Americans will know, cultural references, so those you might miss, references to things that are only in the culture, only in this country. Okay, and then there are local words and phrases, sometimes called colloquialisms, or we could sometimes call those slang words or expressions that are specifically American, for example, that people will use without even thinking about it, and that might cause some difficulty. There are other things like phrasal verbs, which, as we talked about, can make it difficult to understand because phrasal verbs often have more than one meaning. So for all of these reasons, it's like this layer of stuff that gets in the way of the basic thing that's being said. And when I'm speaking to you now, I'm pulling away all of those layers. I'm not including those things in what I'm saying. I'm narrowing my range of words and phrases down to what I'm pretty sure most of you know. And I know what most of you know because I've been teaching English for a long time, and I know what most students at the average level know. People learn English in school, but they haven't become fluent yet because they haven't spoken a lot and they don't have the exposure. And that's why I guess you guys are here, because you can learn more, hopefully. But there is a common intermediate level that most people are at, and it's almost like plugging into a certain setting, which is interesting. It's like plugging into a certain channel mentally now for me. But I think you kind of have to be maybe an English teacher for a while to have that setting. It's not something I could do right away. Okay. Let's see what else I missed. See what else I missed. Huh? I'm not quite ready, Mushroom. It's almost time to go have lunch. Okay, speaking of books, I find English poetry hard to understand. Yep, we talked about poetry. Let's see. What's the difference between puff and puffy? Puff is either a verb or a noun. A puff, like a kind of sweet thing, maybe a cream puff, or someone smoking would have a puff of smoke come out of their mouth. So and that would be a puff of smoke. But the action of doing that is to puff something up. So you would puff smoke out of your mouth, or you might puff yourself up. Maybe a certain type of fish will puff themselves up to be scarier. So puff is either a noun or a verb, and puffy is an adjective. I wear a very puffy coat in the winter. Or my eyes are very puffy. My eyes are very puffy because I don't feel very well and I didn't sleep enough. So my eyes are very puffy, okay? That's pretty simple. Pretty simple. You don't like M&M. I like M&M. I think M&M is pretty good. Have you ever seen Gatchaman crowds? I have not seen Gatchaman crowds. I have not. Look, I struggle how to use abroad. Could you help me? I would appreciate that. Okay, sure. Yeah. How do you use the word abroad? Okay, so going abroad basically means to go outside of your country. So if you're talking about anything outside of your country, you might say it is abroad. We often will use it to talk about an action, to travel abroad, and that would be an adverb. To travel abroad, to go abroad, to visit abroad. And it doesn't mean any specific country. It's outside of your country, right? Have you ever been abroad? That would be a common question. Have you ever been abroad? What does that mean? It means have you ever traveled outside of your country? Now sometimes people will use abroad to mean a faraway country, not just a neighboring country. But generally speaking, we can say that going abroad means going to another country. So we say go abroad, been abroad, travel abroad, and sometimes we'll just say it is abroad. It is abroad. Things abroad. Things abroad. Things here are very different from things abroad. So then it has a kind of different meaning. Well, the basic meaning is the same, but it's used in a different way. Okay. I understand, Luke, your ideas were very helpful. Oh, good. Could you help me with examples between going to and will? Going to and will are the same thing. They're the same. I'm going to do something, I will do something. And we can use them exactly the same. I'm going to have lunch soon. I will have lunch soon. I am going to have lunch soon. I will have lunch soon. The difference here is that if we say going to, we say I am, then going to. If we say will, we just say I will. I will. Okay? They will. She will. He will. We will. It will. It is going to. They are going to. We are going to. And then some action. Going to go. Going to see. Going to do. Going to eat. Going to walk. But another meaning of going to is a different meaning. A different meaning of going to is... the other meaning of going to is to actually move somewhere. That's different. So we might say, I'm going to school. So that going to, I'm going to school, is about movement. And that's the thing that can make this a little bit confusing sometimes, a little bit complicated. Whereas if we say, I'm going to school, it's something we're doing right now. So when you're doing something right now, it's an ongoing action. It's called the present continuous tense. I'm walking to school. I'm going to school. I'm eating lunch. I'm having a coffee. So it's confusing a little bit because just because it can have those two different meanings. I'm going to do something. Yes. Okay, in the future. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to work. To work. So that's about movement and not about the future. Okay? Hopefully that's clear. Yeah, I have PayPal, but you know what? Patreon accepts PayPal too. So if you guys want to get all of the access to all of the previous live streams, they're all on Patreon, and they will always be posted on Patreon after. So these will always be free. I mean, we'll always be able to do this live. But if you don't make it and you want to see the last one, head on over to Patreon in the link. I think it takes PayPal. PayPal accepts PayPal and different cards, I think, too. And it would really mean a lot to me. It's only $2 a month to get access to all of that. And I'm going to be adding more valuable stuff in the future to Patreon without making it more expensive. So I would really appreciate if you guys could support me there. But if not, that's totally okay. All right. I hope I answered your question, Israel. I hope that was clear. Local or loco? Local is nearby. Loco means crazy. It is local. Is it local? Yeah, that means it's not far away. It's in the area. Loco. He's loco. It's the, I believe, the Spanish word for crazy. Okay, thanks for your explanation. You have answered 100% about my curious problem. You've increased your level. Good. Well, I'm happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. Rupee card. I don't know, if you need help, you can send me a message on Patreon because I have posts there for free too. So you can just leave a comment and then we can message back and forth. That would be okay. Yeah, of course. I appreciate your guys' questions. Honestly, this doesn't work without your questions. In other words, if I just came on here, we wouldn't have something to talk about unless you guys asked really good questions. And you usually ask really good questions. And I appreciate that because the better the questions, hopefully the more everybody can learn. So I think it's very cool that it's not just me coming here, it's also you guys coming here, and together we can make some really interesting new content that is hopefully useful to people. I am planning on doing some, in the future I'm planning on doing some more live streams where I have a prepared lesson and have material to share, but I think it's also important that we do this kind of class so that you can ask your questions. How will I take your class? How will you take my class? I'm not sure I understand. I'm not sure I understand, Dinesh. I'm not sure I totally understand your question. How will I take your class? I'm not sure I understand. Okay, what is the meaning of the word handover? Actually, 2 words. So to hand something over is a very casual way of saying to give something to someone. So can you hand over that, that book? Can you give me that book? Can you hand over that book? Okay. But handover is often more formal, like if you have to give documents to the police department or a lawyer, you have to hand something over. And often handover is used when we don't want to give something over. We don't want to give something. So I had to hand over a bunch of stuff to the immigration department, and it was not fun. I had to give a bunch of stuff to them. Okay. Can you please hand over that knife? If you go to the airport and you accidentally bring a knife, which I accidentally did before, they asked me to hand over that knife. They said, sir, you have a knife in your bag? Oh, yes. Oops, by accident I did. Because I was living in a place where I was carving every day. And so I had to give them the knife. I had to hand over the knife. And they took it and threw it away, which is okay. So then I had to get on the airplane. We might also say hand over a responsibility. So for example, here's a CEO in this company, and there's a new person coming in, and this person hands over the title, the role, the duties, the responsibility of CEO. He handed over the title of CEO to the other person. So for example, Steve Jobs handed over the role of CEO to Steve Ballmer. He handed over the role to Steve Ballmer. Okay, hold on a second. I'm getting some questions from Dinesh here. How will you take my class? Tell me. I mean, how much will there be? And how much have joined? Tell me, I'm serious to talk to you face to face. Dinesh, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you mean. I haven't mentioned face-to-face classes. What I talked about was the Patreon. which is if you support for $2 per month, you can get access to all previous live streams. And I will post them all there, as well as other stuff in the future. That's what I meant. And then I also have the courses. I have 3 different courses in the link in the description. I don't really, I mean, I sometimes teach private students, but it's not something that I really focus on too much. Yeah. Can I talk face to face? Maybe we can talk about that privately. It's not something we can focus on here. I think it's not fair to everybody else if we have a private conversation about talking face to face on a live stream. You're welcome to email me if you like and let me know your request, or send me a message on Patreon or on Facebook or whatever you like, or WeChat or HelloTalk. You can contact me however you like. Oh, speaking of HelloTalk, I'm also doing some classes on HelloTalk. So you guys are welcome to add me there. Hey Nadine, we're just about to finish up. Welcome. We're just about to finish our lesson. So you're a little late today. Sorry about that. We are 4 here.
I'm leaving.
What?
I'm leaving.
Why?
I'm so hungry.
I'm ready.
For
Just give me 2 minutes.
20 hours.
Give me 2 minutes.
I've been waiting for until 2, so how can I have time to work?
Okay, just a minute, Mushroom. Mushroom is very hungry. My wife is very hungry, so I gotta go, guys. Dinesh, I'm sorry. Most of the things you're saying, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're talking about. So you'll have to be more clear with your messages. I've got to go, guys. My wife is very hungry, and she wants to eat, and I'm hungry too. So it's really time for me to go. But again, thank you so much for your questions. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys next Saturday. We'll be doing another one of these. Yep, Dinesh, I'm sorry. I just didn't understand your meaning, maybe the words you used. But thanks again, guys. And if you want to watch the other ones, check out the Patreon, check out the courses. See you next time. See you, Nadine. Bye. Yeah, Mushroom is cool.